Greetings people of YouTube, it is I, also Matt, and today we're going to do a review. And no, don't worry, it's not going to be a book review. I haven't had a chance to read a book. I'd like to read a book, but I haven't had a chance to read a book. But we're going to do something different, because I've been doing an awful lot of retro computer gaming. So, on the PS2, we are going to delve into the dark world of Star Wars Starfighter. And straight off the bat, it's not bad.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Okay, so we all remember when Episode 1 came out and the prequels, and the films were, to say the least, disappointing. But what the prequels actually did, or rather what LucasArts did rather well, was the merchandising. And if you, like me, you remember when Episode 1 came out, the hype, the toys, the books, everything, but also the games. Now, we had a Star Wars Episode 1 game. We had various ports on, I think we had the Game Boy Color, I think we had the Game Boy Advance. Yes, we did have the Game Boy Advanced, and we did have the Game Boy Color, and we did have the Game Boy N64, not the Game Boy N64, the Nintendo N64. See, it's all blurring into one. I've been playing that many games. I'd like to talk about Star Wars Racer, Episode 1 Racer, another time, and I will, but not now. So yeah, there was an awful lot of computer games brought out to tie in with Episode 1, and one of them was Star Wars Starfighter, and this is set in the era of Episode 1. I think it's actually set a little before Episode 1, and then it sort of moves on. So the game kicks off and you get your usual training mode just to get used to the controls, and you're a Naboo pilot. That's just to get used to the movement and the way everything goes. And the controls handle beautifully. The graphics are wonderful. I was actually quite impressed. I know a lot of people say that you're supposed to watch these things in HD. I don't do that. I'm old enough to think that I like things in RGB and I like things slightly off kilter. You know, I like the imperfect quality of retro games sometimes. And the graphics and everything, just the way it moves, it's so slick. It's very well made in terms of controls. And one of the things that I think is actually a pro side as well as a con is that with your primary weapons, which is a laser cannon or an ion cannon, whatever, it's completely unlimited ammo. You can keep the trigger finger down and just keep pewing to your heart's content, and then you're off. And you're away. It's actually, I think sometimes it's too easy to get the targets, because this is proper dogfighting in space, so you got to follow the cursor around and follow it around, and then hit something and then go on to the next one, and you basically work for your targets. And you also have your secondary weapon, which is a much more powerful, usually a torpedo weapon. You've got about, I think it's about 5 or 6 of those. On the Naboo fighter, they don't recharge. On other fighters, they do. So you know, if you time it right, you plan it out properly in your own head, then you can actually just primarily use the secondary weapons, which are a lot more powerful. Thing is, on the Naboo fighter is that when you shoot the torpedoes to an object, once it's locked on, the torpedoes will actually track and follow the target until it gets it. On the other fighters, it doesn't do that, so it swings and roundabouts really. The con of the primary weapon, though, to my mind, is the fact that there's no real challenge. I mean, hitting your target, that's difficult enough, but you don't have to be what's the word I'm looking for? Circumspect with your weapons, simply because you've got unlimited ammo. And maybe they thought that this game was going to be a little bit too difficult if you have to go and find ammo as well as hitting everything, completing your objective. Because I tell you what, once you get this game going, and I started on medium, not easy. I think easy would just be insulting. I think the easy is probably for younger players, but for older players, I mean, I tried this on medium. I even tried this on hard, and I got through. It's absolutely no problem at all. So the difficulty in this game is not the greatest. So there's the challenge, or sometimes the lack of challenge to consider, but I think this is a lovely sort of escapist sort of game. This is the kind of thing, if you're bored, you've got an hour to kill, just stick it in, pew 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 pew, yeah, boom, and everything else, and then on to the next thing. it kills an hour. But to be honest, if, like me, you've got a bit of an OCD and you have to complete this thing, I think about an hour is all you're going to get out of entertainment value with this game. Simply because out of the 14 missions, you've only really got about 3 different type of missions. You've got atmosphere, and then you've got space fighting, and then you've got the final boss battle, which is quite, spoilers and all this, but it actually links into the Battle of Naboo at the end of episode 1. You're actually part of the fleet that goes after the droid control ship. And what I can say is a disappointment, but at the same time quite semi-time bacon, is the fact that you are not actually going to be the one to destroy the droid control ship. You do fight inside the droid control ship because you're after a mercenary who forms part of the very loose story in this game, but you're not actually playing as Anakin Skywalker at the end, which I think is a great shame, because I think that would have been a nice topping on this game. If you actually were able to take part in the final battle, that would have been quite nice. So I'm not saying that this game's a waste of time, just don't invest heavily. If you're a big Star Wars fan like me, and you've got this sort of burning urge to sort of complete a collection of Star Wars games, which I am currently doing, this is good to have in your collection, but do not pay any more than I paid for it. And I went to CEX, which anybody who is not here in the UK is like, I don't know, it's what they call a computer exchange shop. You take your games in, you trade them, you get the idea. So it's like a second-hand DVD computer game shop. And I paid 50p for this. I paid 50p for Starfighter. For 50p, I thought actually, I didn't actually feel I was ripped off. But at the same time, I would say, I probably would have liked change. I'll make that sound as if it's a confounding waste of time. It's not, like I said, the graphics are lovely, the controls are beautiful, you don't have to go looking for extra ammo, which sometimes in some games just annoys me. You just want to get on with it, because usually I'm the first one to put a cheat code in, got unlimited ammo, and then I don't have to worry about it. I can get straight through the game, and I can make things a lot better, so you don't have to worry about that. You do, I mentioned earlier about the story. The story in here is very loose. It would barely cover a comic book. That's the kind of, it wouldn't make a novel at all. But it's like I say, it kills an hour. Got nothing else to do. I mean, you can probably find better games to put on, but if you just fancy a bit of pew pew pew, stick this in, have a laugh, and then about an hour later you're done. The playthrough is not all that difficult to do. I did this game in one sitting, which took me probably about 2 hours. But like I say, to the 14 missions, it gets very repetitive. Very repetitive. They just dress up the different missions in different ways. Sometimes you're on a planet, and sometimes, towards the end, they do actually repeat missions that you think, hang on, I've done this before, and it's exactly the same setup. So that's a bit of a cheat. So anybody who paid full price for this, I'd say, I would have tried to get my money back. But it's a nice little thing to have. Excuse me, dying. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm starting to repeat myself now. So yes, controls lovely, graphics lovely, playthrough very simple, quite repetitive, story's very loose. Nice bit of escapism. It is only for a young audience. It's like 3+, right at the bottom here, which is like an age rating. But yeah, I completely missed that. I just saw Star Wars Starfighter and I went, oh, I must have it, and I went and yeah. But like I say, it's a decent little game. It is a decent little game, and it's like I say, it kills a couple of hours, and it's worth having. Also, side note, if you do get this game, and like me, you want to be a little bit more completist, and you want to get all the Star Wars games, you might know that there is one called Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, which is set in the world of Episode 2. However, while these might have different covers, they do not have different gameplay. In fact, apart from the dressiness of the game, the way that things are wrapped and things are made, the different models and different voice actors, all this business, in terms of gameplay, in terms of controls, practically in terms of story, these two games are exactly the same, bar absolutely nothing at all. So if you pick this game up, you can just pick this one up really cheap if it comes to the bundle, you know, just, you know, get them like that, and then stick one on the shelf and then play the other one, because really you're going to be playing the same game over and over again. And I got through about 2 levels of this and I'm thinking, hang on, am I playing the right game? I actually took the disc out and it did say Jedi Starfighter. I thought to myself, well, what the hell's the point in that? But you know, I think it was just a bit of money spinning from LucasArts. But they're lovely games to have in your little collection, and I enjoyed it up until about episode 7. No, Force Awakens, that'd be nice. Up until about mission 7, and then I got a little bored. I put in the cheat code and just cheated my way through just to say that I got to the end, because the gameplay does actually get a bit harder, but not by much. Not by much. But like I say, they are worth having, and if you do get them, find joy. Do not pay expensive for them. Like I say, 50p and £1. That's £1.50 for 2 games. You know, that's all you have to pay for these games. All you have to pay. If you pay any more, you are being ripped off ridiculously. Do not get them off eBay. Go to a car boot site, anywhere. Get these ridiculously cheap. Then you will feel better about it. Okay? Okay. So yeah, that was my first computer game review. And I'm probably going to do a few more, because I've got a lot of games to get through. I'm going to go through N64 games. I'm going to talk about Soul Calibur. Oh yes! Oh, I found a fighting game that I like. Oh, you're going to love that. I will talk about that in another video, obviously. But it'll probably be my next review whenever I do it, whenever I get a chance. But yeah, I'm going to do Soul Calibur in my next review. And probably Soul Calibur 2, maybe, I don't know. But yes, so press play, rock on, and play on, my dears.